A heartwarming forest gift from Fluffy Pink Rabbit in the forest full of clovers. There is a chubby little pink rabbit jumping around. Its name is Rong Rong. Rong Rong's fur is like soft pink cotton. Her long ears stand high up, with a little white down on top. When she runs, she looks like a rolling ball of pink skin. Little squirrel Tao Tao always lies on the branch and cries, "Rong Rong is the little peach blossom of the forest." She looks sweet, and her heart is warmer than honey. That early morning, little hedgehog Kiwuki was going to deliver wild fruits to her sick grandma, but she got lost in the fog. Rong Rong was just carrying a small basket, picking mushrooms, and hurried over. "Don't be afraid. My long ears can hear the wind chimes at Grandma's house." It pricked up its pink ears and listened carefully, leading Kuki through the misty forest. When passing by the babbling brook, it even let Kuki lie on its back and carefully jump over the stones. When they found Grandma Hedgehog's home, Kuki held a wild fruit and said, "Sister Rong Rong, your long ears are more agile than a compass." In the morning, the sun came out. The team of little Aunt Guago was about to carry a big strawberry seed, but they were blocked by a thick branch. Rong Rong had a sudden inspiration. She gently gnawed through the thin vine beside the branch with her front teeth, and then pushed the branch away a little with her soft body, revealing a small path. "Hurry up and walk along this path. I'll keep an eye on the wind for you." The ants lined up as they passed by. Guago waved her antennae and thanked them. "Your strength is even more effective than a small cart." At noon, little butterfly Duadwa's wings were wet with dewdrops and she couldn't fly. Rong Rong quickly picked a clean clover and let Duadwa lie on it to bask in the sun. She also found some sweet nectar to feed it. "When the wings dry, I'll take you to pick the freshest clover honey." Duatwo flapped her dry wings and flew up, circling around Rong Rong. "Sister Rong Rong, your little basket is full of warmth." In the afternoon, the children in the forest were going to have a get-together, but the decorative garlands were missing. Rong Rong immediately picked up the basket, plucked pink wildflowers and green vines, and wove beautiful garlands with her dexterous little claws. She also tied soft rabbit fur balls to them. At the beginning of the party, everyone wore garlands and sang and danced, all praising the Rong Rong garlands as the most beautiful. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the forest a warm pink, and the friends gathered on the grassland. Kuki brought sweet wild fruits, Guogo delivered fresh honey-dew, and Duadwo picked up the most fragrant petals, all of which were put into the fluffy little basket. Rong Rong was gnawing on wild fruits, her long ears gently swaying, and her pink down glistening in the setting sun. It knows that as soon as the sun comes up tomorrow, it will still be running around in the forest, jumping and skipping, sending warmth to every good friend with its love. The farm adventure of the yellow chick Gigi on the sunny farm grass. A fluffy little yellow chicken was running, chirping. Gigi's fur is like dandelions sprinkled with gold powder. Her round eyes are black and shiny. Her little paws make a dada sound when they run. The mother hen always clucks and praises. Gigi is the little son of the farm. She looks cute and innocent, but her heart is warmer than millet porridge. One early morning, Gigi was following her mother to learn how to catch insects when suddenly she heard a woo cry coming from the grass. It quietly moved closer to take a look and found that it was the little ant, Guaguo, who had fallen into the pit and couldn't climb out. Gigi immediately squatted down and gently lowered her soft wings as if she had built a small ladder. Guabu, grab my feathers and come up. Guabu slowly crawled along the feathers and finally returned to the ground. Waving her antennae, she said, "Thank you, Gigi. Your wings are stronger than a small rope." In the morning, the sun was getting warmer and warmer. When little hedgehog Kuki was looking for wild fruits, she accidentally got her back covered with Xanthium sibiricum and was groping in pain. Gigi had a sudden inspiration. With her sharp little beak, she carefully pecked off the Xanthium sibiricum for Kiyuki and also picked out tender grass leaves to support Kiyuki. Kuki bent over and said, "Sister Gigi, your mouth is more dexterous than a little comb." At noon, the little master Duodua was drying grains in the yard. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, scattering the grains all over the ground. Gigi quickly gathered her friends, and together they used their little paws to scrape the grains together. She also helped Duoduo drive away the sparrows that wanted to steal the grains. Duoduo smiled and fed Gigi millet, saying, "Gigi is really my little helper. It's even more useful than a little broom." In the afternoon, the mother hen found that the straw mat of the chicken coop was torn. Gigi immediately ran to the grass, brought soft, dry grass and feathers, and spread them bit by bit in the chicken coop. She also gently moved the egg babies onto the new straw mat. The mother hen licked Gigi's head and said, "My little Gigi has grown up. He can take care of his younger siblings now." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the farm a golden red, and the friends gathered around the chicken coop. Guagu brings sweet honeydew, Kuki presents fresh wild fruits, and Duadu brings a full load of millet. Gigi pecked at the millet, her little wings flapping, and her yellow fluff glistening in the setting sun. It knew that even though it was small, it could still help its good friends. Such a farm life was even happier than eating the most fragrant bugs. The forest wisdom of the orange fox, Aru, in the forest covered with fallen leaves. There was a little orange fox running. Its name was Aru. Ayu's fur is like the sun-dried peel of an orange, shining brightly. Its tail is fluffy like a big chrysanthemum. When it runs, it makes a rustling sound as it steps on the fallen leaves. Little squirrel Tao Tao always says, "Ayu is the little strategist of the forest. He is handsome and his brain is sharper than that of a pinecone." That early morning, little hedgehog Kiyuki was picking wild fruits when she accidentally fell into a small trap dug by a hunter. Hearing the cries for help, Ayu immediately ran over. It circled the trap twice, found a long green vine, bit one end of the vine into a knot, and gently put it into the trap. "Kuki, hold the vine firmly. I'll pull you up," Ayu pulled at the rattan with all her might, her tail stretched straight, and she wouldn't let go even when she stuck out her tongue from exhaustion. After finally pulling Kuki up, it used its leaves to wipe the mud off Kiwi's body. Kuki held the wild fruit and said, "Brother Ayu, your method works even better than a ladder." In the morning, the pinecone basket of little squirrel Tao Tao broke, and the pine cones rolled all over the ground. Ayu had a sudden inspiration. She found hollow branches to use as pipes, rolled pine cones one by one into the branches, and tied the branches with vines to form a small cart. Tao Tao pushed the pine cone and laughed. "Your brain is even smarter than Dad Fox's." At noon, the sky suddenly darkened. Aru saw that the little sparrow Shoo Shoo was still hatching eggs in the distance. She quickly used big leaves and dry grass to build a rain shelter for Shoo Shoo's nest. When the raindrops fall, Choo Choo's nest is dry and warm. It chirps to Aru, "Your love is warmer than a feather." In the evening, the setting sun dyed Aru's fur golden red, and her companions gathered around her. Kuki brought sweet wild fruits, Tao Tao presented big pine cones, and Juju carried fresh grass leaves. Chewing wild fruits, Ru thought. The use of being smart is to help good friends solve problems. Such a forest life is sweeter than honey. The soft vegetable leaves of the green caterpillar are warm and busy in the vegetable garden covered with tender leaves. A green caterpillar was wriggling. Its name was Ruin. The soft body was like being coated with freshly squeezed spinach juice, section by section. Wherever it crawled, it would leave thin silver lines. Little Ant Guago always circled around it. Soft is the little green silk of the vegetable garden. Its body is soft, but its heart is sweeter than the juice of the vegetable leaves. That early morning, the wings of the little ladybug were stuck by dewdrops, and it was lying on the vegetable leaf, spinning around in a hurry. Ruin quickly crawled over and gently rubbed her wings with her soft body, sucking all the dewdrops onto her body. "Don't panic, I'll help you dry the dew." Dion flapped her dry wings and flew up, surrounding Ruin and shouting, "Thank you, Ruin. Your body works better than oil-absorbing paper." In the morning, the sun had made the vegetable leaves a little curled. The little aphid Mimi couldn't find a shady place and was almost wilted by the sun. Ruin immediately climbed under a large vegetable leaf, bent her body and set up a small green shed. "Mimi, come and cool off in my shadow." Mimi crawled under Ruin and immediately felt cool. She whispered, "Brother Ruin, your shadow is even more comfortable than the shade of leaves." At noon, the team of little Ant Guaguo was trying to carry a corn kernel, but they were blocked by a small ditch on the vegetable leaves. Ruin quickly climbed over and rested her body on the small ditch, like building a green bridge. "Hurry along my back, it's steady." The ants lined up and crawled over the soft body. Guago waved its antennae and thanked, "Your back is stronger than the little stone bridge." In the afternoon, Grandpa Gardener came to pick the vegetable leaves and found that the small tomato seedlings beside Ruin had grown crooked. Ruan quickly, gently pushed the tomato sprout with her body, helping it straighten its position bit by bit, and also let the roots wrap around her body to fix it. Grandpa smiled and said, "This little caterpillar is so sensible." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the vegetable garden a warm yellow, and the friends gathered around Ruat. Guagu brought sweet nectar, Dion offered delicious grass juice, and Mimi helped it drive away the annoying little flying insects. Soft lay on the vegetable leaf, slowly gnawing at the tender leaf, feeling warm in her heart. It knows that even though it is small and soft, it can still help its good friends. Such days are sweeter than the tenderest vegetable leaves. The ostrich's galloping grassland legs on the grassland warmed by the sun. A strong ostrich was running. Its name was Benbun. Benbun's feathers are sandy brown, as if wrapped in a layer of sunlight. His two long legs are thin and powerful. When he runs, they make a thump-thump sound even faster than a pony. Little zebra Tiao always says Benbun is the flying legs of the grassland. He runs fast, but his heart is softer than the morning dew. That early morning, the little antelope Dowadowo's younger brother was targeted by a hyena and was so scared that he crawled into the grass. Benbun happened to be foraging in the distance. He immediately spread his wings to act as a little shield, galloped over with his long legs, and with a whoosh he left the hyena behind and let the little antelope hide under his broad wings. "Thank you, Benbun. Your legs are faster than the wind." "Do," said gratefully. In the morning, little hedgehog Kuki was going to attend a grassland party, but was blocked by a small river. Benbun quickly squatted down and let Kuki climb onto his back. He waded steadily across the small river. Water droplets dripped down his feathers, but Kuki wasn't wet at all. "Brother Benbun, your back is even more stable than a small boat." Kuki shook his spines and said, "At noon, the sun made the ground hot." Little golden monkey Mao suffered from heat stroke and lay dazed on a tree branch. Benbun immediately ran to the shade of a tree, hooked Mau down with his long neck, carried it towards the cool mountain spring, and even licked the sweat off Mau's face. Mau woke up, hugged Benben's neck, and smiled. "Your neck is more dexterous than a small ladder." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the grassland a golden red, and the companions gathered beside the mountain spring. Duadwo brought tender green grass, Kuki presented sweet wild fruits, and Mau helped Benbun groom his feathers. Benbun pecked at the green grass, his long legs swaying gently. He knew that his long legs were not only for running, but also for protecting his good friends. This was the best ability. Little seal Tuonchuans, warm and busy notes in the ice sea. In the Arctic Bay, where ice is floating, there is a chubby little seal swimming. Its name is Tuonchuan. Tuonchuan's fur is like snow sprinkled with fine salt, smooth and slippery. Its belly is round and plump. When it swims, it looks like a snow-white little shell. Even the Arctic tern choo-choo praises it. Tuonchuan is a little dolphin in the ice sea. It swims fast and its heart is warmer than the floating ice exposed to the sun. That early morning, the little seabird's chirping wings were covered with ice chips and it could unfly back to its nest on the cliff. Tuonchuan quickly swam to the side of the floating ice, supported Juju with her chubby back, and slowly swam down the cliff. "Don't be afraid, I'll take you up." It approached the rock wall with floating ice on its head, allowing Shushu to fly into the nest by stepping on its back. Shushu flapped her wings and shouted, "Thank you, Tuanchuan. Your back is more stable than ice steps." In the morning, the mother polar bear was looking for seals with her cubs, but accidentally let the cubs slide into an ice crevice. Tuanchuan heard the cries for help and immediately swam over. He used his body to press against the edge of the ice crevice and let the mother bear step on his back to rescue the baby. Mother bear licked Tuanchuan's fur and gently rubbed it with her nose, saying, "You are such a brave little fellow." At noon, the sunlight melted some of the floating ice, and the small krill group was trapped in the shallow water area, about to be pecked by seagulls. Tuanchuan quickly swam around the shallow water area, splashing water with his tail to scare away the seagulls, and then used his body to draw a passage to let the krill herd swim back to the deep sea. The krill was circling around in circles, as if sprinkled with a handful of shiny silver powder. In the evening, the setting sun died, the ice sea an orange-red, and Tuanchuan lay on the floating ice, basking in the sun. Shushu brought a fresh little fish. The baby bear brought a smooth pebble. The krill group danced a circle dance around it. Tuanchuan was gnawing at the little fish, its belly warm from the sun. It knew that the warmth in the ice sea was the happiness of protecting each other with its friends. Sweet memories under the grape skewers on the rack in Grandpa's yard. There is a lush green grapevine with bunches of plump grapes hanging on it. Among them, the one that is the most purple and brightest, Grandpa named it Chuan Chuan. Each grape in the bunches is plump and round, dressed in a purple and lustrous coat, with a fine layer of white frost covering it, as if sprinkled with a handful of white granulated sugar. It feels smooth to the touch, and with a gentle pinch you can feel the sweet juice inside. Its vines are soft and can climb high up the trellis. When the wind blows, the whole bunch of grapes gently sway, as if dancing a sweet dance. Grandpa always says the bunches are the little treasures under the grape trellis. When they are ripe, everyone can taste the sweetness. That early morning, just as Chuan was moistening and shining with the morning dew, she heard a soft Gigi cry. It was the chirping of a little sparrow. It had accidentally bumped into the grape trellery yesterday, and its wings were a bit sore, unable to fly high and unable to find anything delicious. Shushu landed on the vine closest to Chuan, smelling the sweet fragrance on Chuan. His eyes lit up immediately, but he didn't dare to approach, fearing that his little paws would knock off the grapes. Chuan quickly shook her body, bringing the bottom grape closer to Shushu. "Shushu, don't be afraid. Taste my flesh." It's so sweet. Shushu carefully pecked a small mouthful. The sweet and sour juice spread in its mouth. Its wings seemed to hurt less. It happily flapped its wings and said, "Thank you, Chuan. Your flesh is sweeter than nectar. I finally have the strength to fly." In the morning, the sun rose slowly, and it became warm under the grape trellis. Chuan found that the little caterpillar on the vine was soft and listless. It had crawled for a long time, but only managed to gnaw on a few slightly astringent leaves, and its stomach was growling with hunger. Chuan quickly let the vines beside him gently hang down, and placed the most ripe grape in front of Ruan. "Eat it quickly. This one is the sweetest." Soft climbed onto the grape, taking small bites of the pulp. After finishing, she still crawled around on the vine, as if expressing her gratitude. "Thank you, Chuan. Your flesh is even more delicious than your leaves. I can climb faster now." Chuan shook the rattan as if saying, "You're welcome." At noon, the little girl Duo from the neighbor's house came to play at her grandpa's. As soon as she entered the door, she was attracted by the skewers on the grape trellis. "Grandpa, this bunch of grapes is so purple. It must be extremely sweet." Grandpa smiled and nodded, brought over a small stool, carefully picked the skewers, and placed them on a plate. Duo didn't want to eat it right away and whispered to Chuan, "You are so beautiful. You look like a string of little purple beads." She took the skewers to the grape trellis and sat on a small stool with her grandpa, eating them one by one slowly. The sweet and sour juice made Duo smile so hard that she squinted her eyes. So sweet. The skewers are even more delicious than the grapes in the supermarket. I'm going to save a few for my parents to taste. In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Chuan recalled the little ant Guo living under the grape trellis. Their holes were unobstructed, and rainwater would seep into them. Chuan quickly asked her grandpa to put the leftover grape skins beside the ant hole. The grape skins were big and soft, just enough to block the hole. Guo poked his head out of the hole and shook his antennae at Chuan. "Thank you, Chuan. Your grape skins are more effective than pebbles. The hole isn't wet at all." Chuan lay on the plate, watching the ant hole safe and sound, feeling sweet in her heart. In the evening, the setting sun died the courtyard orange-red. Grandpa washed the remaining grapes clean and was going to make grape jam. Duo also came to help. She put the grapes one by one into the bowl and whispered to the clusters of grape seeds. "Grape seeds, let's plant another grapevine next year and grow more clusters, shall we?" Grandpa smiled and said, "Great, next year there will be more sweet grapes under our grape trellis." After the jam was cooked, Duo took a bite immediately. The sweet and sour taste was exactly the same as the flesh of the skewers. She happily said, "It's so delicious." This way, we can enjoy the sweetness of skewers all year round. When the moon rose, Duo placed the small bottle containing grape jam on the windowsill. The jam in the bottle looked like little purple jewels under the moonlight. The room was quiet, with only the rustling of the evening breeze over the grapevines. Because of the strings, this small courtyard became warmer and sweeter. Such days were more beautiful than the sweet and sour flesh of the grapes, and brighter than the purple and lustrous coat. The Forest Guardian story of Little Tiger Banban. Deep in the forest, on a small hillside, there lived a cute little tiger. Everyone called him Banban. He has a coat of soft orange fur with small black stripes on his body, as if sprinkled with a handful of dark chocolate beans. There is also a tufts of white down at the tips of his ears, which sway along when he runs. Banban's claws are small and not yet sharp. His cry is not a loud aw, but a soft woo. The little animals in the forest are not afraid of him at all. Instead, they always love to play with him because Banban is particularly good at taking care of everyone. That early morning, a light frost fell in the forest, and the air was cool and refreshing. Little squirrel Guogo was hugging a pinnacone and shivering in a tree hole. Its little nest had been blown apart by the wind, and there was no warm place to stay. Banban passed by the tree hole and heard Guogo's soft sigh. She quickly leaned her little head over and said, "Guogo, don't be cold. My fur is very warm. You can lie on my back." Guogo climbed out carefully and burgled into her mottled soft fur. Her orange fur was like a warm little quilt, immediately blocking the cold wind. Guogu was munching on a pinnacone and said comfortably, "Thank you, Banban. Your fur is softer than my little nest. I'm no longer cold." In the morning, the sun rose slowly, the frost melted, and the forest became warm. When Banban was playing on the grass, he saw the little hedgehog, Kuki, spinning around anxiously. It was looking for the sweet wild berries, but the wild berries grew in the thorny bushes, and it would get pricked as soon as it got close. Banban hurried over and gently pushed aside the branches of the shrubbery with his little paws, revealing the red wild berries inside. Kuki, "Don't panic. I'll pick the wild berries for you." He carefully held the wild berries in his paws and handed them to Kuki without getting pricked at all. Kuki rolled over, stuck the wild berries on his back, and shook his thorns at Banban, saying, "Thank you, Banban. Your claws are more agile than my thorns. I finally got to eat wild berries." At noon, Duoduo, a little girl by the forest, came to pick pinnacone nuts. Suddenly, she heard a soft woo sound. It was Banban. He was lying on the grass, staring blankly at a small wildflower. Duoduo walked over slowly and gently stroked Banban's soft fur. Banban did not dodge at all and even brought her head close to Duoduo's side to rub against it. Duoduo smiled and said, "Little tiger, is your name Banban okay? Your patterns are so beautiful." She took out a small piece of beef jerky from her pocket and placed it in front of Banban. Banban began to take small bites, her eyes shining brightly, as if saying thank you. Later, Duoduo would come to bring delicious food to Banban every day, and the two became good friends. In the afternoon, the sky suddenly turned overcast, as if it was going to rain. Banbun thought of the little turtle Mungmun living in a low-lying area. Its shell was a bit heavy. If it rained and the water rose, it would surely not be able to crawl fast. Banbun hurried over and gently pushed Mung Mung's shell with his little head. Mung Mung, come with me quickly. Let's go to a higher place to take shelter from the rain. Slowly, slowly, I got up and followed Banbun up the small hill. Just as I reached the top of the slope, raindrops began to fall with a drip, drip sound. Slowly, I lay beside Banbun and shook my head, saying, "Thank you, Banbun. You are more reliable than the small hill. I'm not afraid of the flood anymore." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the forest an orange red. Under the setting sun, the patches of soft fur seemed a little brighter, and the black stripes also became warm. He was playing hide-and-seek on the grass with Guogu, Kuki, Mung Mung, and Duo. Banbun was hiding behind a big tree, but his orange fur was too conspicuous, and everyone found him at once. Every time they found him, they all laughed very happily. Duo also took off her small scarf and tied it around Banbun's neck. Banbun ran with the scarf on, looking like a little forest guard. When the moon rose, Banbun was lying on the small hill, surrounded by his friends. He licked Duo's hand, then rubbed Guagua's tail, and slowly closed his eyes. The forest was quiet, with only the rustling sound of the evening breeze brushing against the leaves. Because of Banbun, this small forest became more and more lively and warm. Banbun knew that when the sun rose tomorrow, he would continue to help everyone find wild berries, shield from the cold wind, and shelter from the rain. Such days were even more delicious than sweet wild berries and more comfortable than orange soft fur. The tentacle magic of the little octopus Duodvu in the blue seabed. There lived little octopuses named Duodvu. She has 8 tender pink tentacles with round suction cups on them. When she swims, they look like little ribbons floating around. But Duodwu always feels that there are too many tentacles. She might knock over shells when tiling them and get tangled up when wearing skirts. In the early morning, Duodwu was picking up shells among the corals when she heard the little seahorse Yoayu shout, "Oh dear!" Yoayu's tail was entangled by water plants. Duodwu swam over, stretching out 2 tentacles to untie the water plants, and then used another tentacle to help Yoayu straighten the crooked bow. "Thank you." While expressing his gratitude slowly, a strong cry of a little crab came from afar. "My shell house has been washed away by the waves." Duodwu swam over immediately, and all 8 tentacles came into action. 2 held the shells, 3 cleared the sand, and 3 helped Duangguangguang lay out the stones. Soon, the shell house was firmly established. Zhuangzhuang held up the shell and said, "Your tentacles seem to have magic." Duodwu shook her tentacles and suddenly didn't find it troublesome anymore. At this time, the clownfish came to invite her to play bubble catching. Her 8 tentacles could catch several bubbles at the same time, making her the bubble little champion in the ocean. The setting sun shone into the ocean floor, and Duodwu waved her tentacles as she swam with her friends. Her heart was sweet, so her tentacles weren't a trouble, but a little magic that could help everyone. The laughter from the seabed, accompanied by the bang-bang sound of bubbles, drifted far away. The big, strong pincers of the little crab on the beach by the sea, there lived a tiny crab named Zhuang Shuang. He has 2 round black eyes and a pair of big pincers. When he walks, they sway horizontally, like a wobbly little lantern. Zhuangguang always felt that his pliers were too big. When playing games, he often accidentally pinched his friends, which made him a little sad. That morning, Zhuang was sighing behind a rock when he suddenly heard a woo cry. It was Dodo, the little hermit crab. His shell had been washed into a crevice of the rock by the waves, and he just couldn't reach it. Zhuang immediately crawled over, trying to reach it with his little paws. But the gap between the stones was too narrow, and he simply couldn't get in. What should I do? Dudu was so anxious that she burst into tears. Duangshuang looked at his big pliers and suddenly came up with an idea. Don't panic, I'll help you. He carefully inserted the large pliers into the crevice of the stone, gently clamped the edge of the shell, and slowly pulled it out. 1 to 1, 1 to 1. Zhuang exerted all his strength and finally pulled out the shell. Dudu held the shell and happily spun around. Zhuang, your big pincers are so powerful. At this moment, the little turtle also swam over and said, Zhuang, can you help me open the shell? My little paws can't be bent. Duangshuang nodded immediately and gently pinched the shell with his big pliers. With a click, the shell split open. When the sun was setting in the west, Zhuangguang sat on the reef, looking at his big pincers. Suddenly, he felt that they were no longer in the way at all. It turns out that one's own minor flaws might just be a great ability to help others. The laughter on the beach, accompanied by the sound of the waves, gently drifted far away. The rainy day promise of the little yellow umbrella mushroom after a light rain in the forest. A special yellow mushroom emerged beside the dandelion cluster. Its canopy was like a little sun smeared with honey, and the handle was a tender, pale yellow. Even the water droplets it clung to were shining with a warm light. The little animals all called it Little Yellow Umbrella. Little Squirrel Rong passed by with Pinnacone in her arms. Suddenly, it started drizzling again. She quickly hid under the small yellow umbrella and found that the lid could just cover her big tail. Wow, you look like a warm little house. Hardly had Rong finished speaking when she saw the little ladybug Dion flapping its wet wings and flying over it. The red dots on its wings were all washed away by the rain. Come in quickly and take shelter from the rain. Rong moved a little to the side to make room for Dion. The little yellow umbrella swayed gently, as if saying, welcome. Dion lay on the handle of the umbrella and wiped the water off her wings with her little paws. Suddenly, she found a few sweet dewdrops hidden under the umbrella cover. She quickly called Rong to taste them together. They are as sweet as rock sugar water. When the rain stopped, a small rainbow hung in the sky. Wrong, wrong. And Dion were just about to leave when they suddenly remembered something. They found a few soft dandelion fluff pieces and gently pasted them on the edge of the little yellow umbrella. This way, next time it rains, you can also catch more friends. Later on, every time it rained, the little yellow umbrella would be crowded with tiny figures. The rainy days in the forest also became warm and sweet. The Guardian story of Little Cabbage Chinking's vegetable garden in Grandma's vegetable garden. There is a tender little Chinese cabbage, which everyone calls chinking. Its leaves are a bright and tender green, like jade washed by spring rain. Layer upon layer of leaves wraps around each other, and the edges are slightly wavy. When the wind blows, they sway gently, giving off a faint grassy fragrance. Even passing little butterflies like to rest on its leaves. That early morning, Chinking had just absorbed her fill of dewdrops when she suddenly heard a faint buzzing sound. It was the buzzing of a little bee. While gathering nectar, it had accidentally got its wings wet by the rain and landed on the soil of the vegetable garden, unable to fly no matter how hard it tried. Chinking quickly lowered the outermost large leaf gently, like opening a small green umbrella to block the cool morning breeze. It also allows the dewdrops on the leaves to slowly drip to the buzzing side, replenishing its moisture. After a while, its buzzing wings dried up. It shook its antennae at Chinking and picked some nectar from its leaves before happily flying away, as if saying, "Thank you, Chinking." In the morning, the sun was slowly rising. The little ants in the vegetable garden were busy moving their house, but a small pebble blocked their way. The ants were sweating profusely from pushing, but the pebble remained motionless. When Chinking saw this, she quietly moved the root close to the stone to the side and let a leaf gently press against the edge of the stone. Unexpectedly, the force of the leaf, combined with the push of the root, made the stone gradually move away a little, just enough for the ants to pass through smoothly. Captain Ant led everyone to place a sweet sugar grain on the green leaf as a token of gratitude. At noon, the little brother of the neighbor came to play in the vegetable garden. He accidentally fell down and his knee rubbed against the soil. It hurt so much that he almost cried. Grandma quickly helped the little brother to the small stool beside Chinking, picked the most tender leaf of Chinking, washed it with clean spring water, and gently wiped the dirt off the little brother's knee. The little brother touched the soft and green leaves, smelled a faint fragrance, and suddenly didn't feel the pain anymore. He even smiled at Chinking. The little cabbage is so cute. In the evening, Grandma came to the vegetable garden to water it. Seeing the sugar grains on Chinking's leaves and hearing from the little brother that Chinking had wiped his knees, she smiled and touched Chinking's leaves, saying, "Our Chinking is truly a little treasure in the vegetable garden." Chinking shook her leaves, watching the setting sun stretch her shadow long, feeling warm in her heart. Suddenly, it felt that although it was just a tiny cabbage, unable to run or fly, being able to shield the little bee from the wind and rain, help the little ant move stones, and comfort the little brother was the happiest thing. It turns out that an ordinary little cabbage can also become a little guardian in the vegetable garden with its own tenderness and kindness, bringing warmth to its friends around it. In the vegetable garden at night, the moonlight falls on the green leaves, and even the dewdrops sparkle with a bright light as if applauding for this lovely little cabbage. The growth story of the young sapling in the green courtyard in the yard of my grandma's house. There is a small sapling. Everyone calls it green when it was first planted. It was only as tall as the knees, with thin branches and a few tender green leaves on top, like a shy little baby. Every day it tried hard to absorb the sunlight and rain, hoping to grow taller quickly. Grandma waters it every day and also sets up a small wooden stick beside it, fearing that the wind might blow it over. That early morning, LVLV had just been moistened by the morning dew until its leaves shone when it heard a rustling sound. It was the chirping of a little sparrow that had just flown out of its nest. It wanted to find a safe place to build a new nest, but the big tree in the yard was too tall for it to fly up. Green quickly shook its slender branches and shouted to Shoo Shoo, Shoo Shoo, come to me. Though my branches are thin, they can help you keep out the wind. Shoo Shoo flew around LVLV twice and landed on the thickest branch, picking up dry grass and feathers, and slowly built up a small nest. After setting it up, Juju flapped her wings at LVLV and said, "Thank you, LVLV. Your branches are even more stable than I thought. From now on, this place will be my home." Day by day passed, and LVLV gradually changed its appearance. Its branches grew thicker, reaching as tall as Grandma's waist. Its tender green leaves turned dark green, and many new branches sprouted. When the wind blew, the leaves rustled, as if singing a happy song. In the morning, after Grandma finished washing the clothes, she found that there were enough clotheslines, and there was no place to hang the freshly washed handkerchiefs. When LVLV saw this, she quickly stretched out the smoothest branch in front of her grandma, as if saying, "Grandma, hang it with me." Grandma smiled and tied the small handkerchief to the branch. The handkerchief gently fluttered in the wind, as if she had tied a colorful little scarf for LVLV. Grandma touched the green branch and said, "Green is so sensible. Now you can even help Grandma with the work." At noon, the sun was scorching hot. My neighbor's little brother, Dodo, came to play in the yard. After running for a while, he was sweating profusely and wanted to find a cool place to rest for a while. Green quickly spread out its thick leaves and built a green little pergola for Dodo. "Dodo, come and rest under me for a while. Leaves can block the sun." Dudu ran under LVLV. Sure enough, it was much cooler. She also picked up a small stone that had fallen on the ground and drew a big smiling face at the base of LVLV. "LVLV, your awning is even more comfortable than Grandma's bamboo chair." In the afternoon, a few small green fruits suddenly sprouted on the green branches. They were sweet little crabapple fruits. Little squirrel Lily jumped down from the courtyard wall. When it saw the fruit, its eyes lit up, but it couldn't reach it. So it had to circle around LV. LV quickly drooped the fruit-bearing branches and said, "Lily, don't worry. Pick them slowly." Lily stood on tiptoe, picked a fruit, took a bite, and the sweet juice spread in its mouth. It quickly picked 2 more, put them in its arms, and shook its big tail at LV. "Thank you, LV. Your fruit is sweeter than the pine cones I found." In the evening, dark clouds suddenly rose from the sky, and it began to drizzle. The little snail that had just been playing in the yard slowly had nowhere to take shelter from the rain, and its shell was all covered with mud and water. LV quickly let a large leaf hang down and cover slowly above, as if opening a green umbrella. Slowly hiding under the leaves, slowly stretching out its antennae. It waved at Green and said, "Thank you, Green. Your leaves are just like little umbrellas. Not a drop of rain can get on me." The setting sun dyed the yard an orange-red. Standing in the center of the yard, LV watched her companions. Juju was singing in the nest. Dodo was playing with pebbles under the pergola, and Lily was running away with fruits in her arms, slowly resting under the leaves. Her heart felt warm. Suddenly it felt that from a tiny seedling to one that could provide shade-hang things and bear fruit, it was not only for its own growth, but also to help the little birds build nests, dry handkerchiefs for its grandma, shield Dudu from the sun, and share fruits with Lily. It was much happier than standing alone in the yard. It turns out that a tiny sapling, as long as it grows hard, can become a little guard in the yard, bringing warmth and joy to everyone. When the moon rose, LV was still standing quietly. The deep green leaves swayed gently in the moonlight, as if guarding every little life in the yard. The courtyard was quiet, with only the rustling sound of the leaves in the wind. Because of LV, this small courtyard became more and more lively and warm. Such days were sweeter than the sweet crabapple fruits and more beautiful than the thick leaves. A heartwarming story of a fluffy little rabbit in the forest. In the carrot field at the edge of the forest lived a little rabbit, and everyone called her Rong. She was covered with snow-white fur, as if wrapped in a layer of freshly fallen snowflakes. Her long ears were tinged with a light pink when she ran. Her ears bounced back and forth. With a gentle push of her hind legs, she could jump far away, and even the wind couldn't catch up with her. The most special thing about her is her little nose. She always loves to sniff around and can find the sweetest carrots in the forest, as well as the little troubles of her friends. That early morning Rong carried the small bamboo basket woven by her mother and went to the field to pick the freshest carrots for breakfast. Just as I pulled out a carrot still covered with soil, I heard a soft woo cry. It was the little hedgehog Kuki that had just moved to the forest. It wanted to send a wild strawberry to its grandma far away, but it didn't know the way to her house. and was afraid that its spines would prick others, so it didn't dare to ask for directions. Rong Rong quickly put down the carrot, jumped to Kiwi's side, and gently touched its thorn with her nose. She knew which thorn wouldn't hurt people. "Don't be afraid, I'll take you there. I know the way." She walked ahead, helping Cookie push away the small branches blocking the way, and from time to time stopped to wait for Cookie, fearing that it might not keep up. When passing by the stream, Rong Rong found a big lotus leaf, asked Cookie to sit on it, and pushed the leaf across the stream herself. It wasn't long before we arrived at Kui's grandma's home. Kayuki was holding wild strawberries and waved her little paws at Rong Rong, saying, "Thank you, Rong Rong. Your ears are more conspicuous than a small flag. I won't get lost at all following you." In the morning, as the sun rose slowly, Rong Rong was jumping around the dandelion bushes when she saw the little squirrel lily squatting on a branch. Worried. The cloth bag it used to hold pine cones had a hole, and the pine cones were scattered all over the ground. If they were blown away by the wind, there would be no food to eat in winter. Rong Rong quickly jumped over, used her soft down to catch the scattered pine cones, and handed the small bamboo basket to Lally. "Let S put them in my basket first. Mum said this basket is very sturdy." Lalube put the pine cones into the basket and deliberately picked the biggest one to give to Rong Rong Rong. "This is for you as a snack. Your basket is much more useful than my cloth bag." At noon, the sun was scorching. The little sparrows that had just learned to fly chirped, their wings drooping from the sun. They landed on the grass and couldn't fly, chirping anxiously. But Rong Rong quickly jumped to Juju's side and blocked the sunlight with her big ears, like opening two small white umbrellas. She also took out a dewy carrot from the basket, squeezed out the sweet juice and fed it to Juju to drink. Shushu drank the carrot juice and gradually regained her strength. She flapped her wings at Rong Rong and said, "Thank you, Rong Rong. Your ears are cooler than leaves." In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Rong Rong remembered that the little ants Guogo were still carrying breadcrumbs on the distant hillside. She quickly jumped over and called out Zizzy. To them, she had learned the sound of ants from her mother, reminding them to go home quickly. He also helped the fruit put the breadcrumbs into the small bamboo baskets and sent them back to the ant nest. Guoguo shook its antennae at Rong Rong and put a small piece of breadcrumbs in the basket, as if giving her a small gift. In the evening, the setting sun died. The forest orange. Dread Rong Rong was sitting in the carrot field, surrounded by Kuki, Lele, and Juju. They were sharing carrots, pine cones, and wild strawberries. Rong Rong bit into the sweet carrot, looking at the smiling faces of her friends. Her ears swayed gently, and her heart felt warm. Suddenly, she felt that running fast was not just for jumping and playing, but also to help everyone deliver things, shield from the sun, and pass on messages. It was much happier than eating carrots alone. It turns out that even a tiny rabbit can, with its own enthusiasm and agility, become a little sun in the forest, bringing warmth and safety to every friend. When the moon rose, Rong Rong was still bouncing along the path by the field, her snow-white fluff gently twinkling in the moonlight like a moving little cotton ball. The forest was quiet, with only the chirping of insects and the soft footsteps of Rong Rong. Because of Rong Rong, this forest became more and more lively and warmer. Such days were sweeter than sweet carrots and more comfortable than soft down.